Hello everyone, it is time for an exciting discussion, projectile motion. Engaging scenario, the Philippine Sport Commission will conduct a training for coaches and athletes of discus thrown, javelin thrown, long jump, basketball, and other sports that involve projectile motion. Being a sport biomechanism specialist, a person studied the effect of forces and motion on sport performance. You are commissioned to propose the best training practice on how to develop sports skill through a video demonstration. You must cite the principle in physics applied to each movement. But first, what is projectile motion? Projectile motion is an object that is initially thrown into the air and continues to move on its trajectory, acted upon by gravity. The path that the projectile follows is parabola. The path is called trajectory. The trajectory of a projectile motion is always in the form of a parabola. For example, in a game of volleyball, when a ball is hit into the air, you can see it coming down eventually, and the path followed is always like a parabola. This is called projectile motion. This is an animation on how projectile motion works. As you can see, the velocity in y direction and the velocity starts moving, but the velocity in x direction is still constant. Real-life projectile motion. In real life, the projectile motion finds application in sports. Playing basketball, volleyball, football is an example of projectile motion in real life. In volleyball, while throwing or passing a ball into the player number 2, the player number 1 throw or pass the ball such a way that the flight taken by the ball in the form of parabola. A curve is generated by the ball such that the distance of the ball from the fixed point is equal to the distance it traveled onto the axis. This is how the projectile motion is used in real life. As you can see, when I spike the ball, it creates a projectile motion. This is the projectile motion in volleyball. As you can see, the girl uses force to spike the ball to have a projectile motion. But did you know what is force? A force is simply a push or pull, and it changes the motion of the body segment of the ball. Motion is created and modified by the action of forces, mostly muscle force but also by external force from the environment. Force in playing volleyball. Spike, serve. In spike, we need a bigger force through your palm to the ball which serves to the other player correctly. I will show you the difference between bigger force and smaller force. This is the smaller force. This is the bigger force. This is the both video and spiking. If you compare the two, you will say that bigger force is only for bigger court, but the smaller area, I prefer smaller force. Toss, serve. In toss, we need a bigger force also, but if the ball is served with a lower angle, it will travel a further distance with a lower height, but when the ball is served at the higher angle, the ball will serve highly. I will show you the difference between the ball served in the higher height but not a further distance, and also when the ball is served with a lower angle, it will travel a further distance with a lower height. This is the lower force. This is the higher force. This is the video when I do some tossing. If you compare the two, you will see that the bigger force is only for bigger court, but the smaller area, I prefer smaller force, just like when you do spiking. Tips to improve your volleyball skills. Number 1. Make sure your foot and hand is in the proper position. The player should be holding his arm away from the body at a 90-degree angle. With his hand together, knees should be bent, the ball come in contact with the lower forearm, just above the wrist. After contact, the arm should be pointed toward the target. Take a look at this volleyball player. Her one foot is in the front and her knees was bent, and also her palm are holding crossed and tight. Do you think it has an effect in playing volleyball? This is the step on how to do the proper position. Number 2. Make sure to follow the ball on where do you think it will landed. Number 3. Always focus on the game. Number 4. Always enjoy the game. Be sporty. Number 5. Always be confident but not too over. This is a random video in the internet. It is the fight between the cream line and the Petrogas. In this, I only see that they are focused on the game. They are sporty and not too overconfident.
Leadership here today, but when we talk about leadership, you can count out Eliza Valdez.
So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for watching and listening. Goodbye!